Hello there, Cancer. Welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for the month of October, and I'd like to begin by saying welcome back to all of the folks that have been following me for the past few years. Your support means the world to me. If you're brand new, I'd also like to welcome you and introduce myself properly. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and the way that I format the forecast each month is as follows. I like to start off with some channeled information. This is when I access my intuition and intuition alone, and I will share with you whatever I see, feel, and hear. After that, I will use the cards, and we pull a full Celtic cross here. And what I do at that point is allow for whatever needs to come through. It's usually some of the high points and also some of the challenges of the month. Because that's very organic, I also like to focus on some areas that I know you care about each month, and this is the extended forecast where I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each forecast is created in such a way that you can use it for your sun, your rising, or your moon sign. You can watch all three if you happen to know those. You can also watch on behalf of someone in your life that you care about. If you don't happen to know all of the different aspects of your chart, just stick with the sign that you were born under, and that's going to give you all that you need for the month ahead. If you like what you see here, and I certainly hope you do, I would love for you to stick around until the end. At this point, I do a couple of bonus things for everybody. Because this is comprehensive, I'll give you an overview where I will turn the camera down and within 1 or 2 minutes go through everything that I talked about. And after that, I'll give you a closing word, something to think about and take away from the whole reading after we've talked about everything. At this point, I'll also give some information on how you can support the channel. Everything that you see here is because of fans like you, and there are many different ways that you can make it happen. Whether it's liking and subscribing, booking an appointment, giving a contribution, or simply sharing it across your social media feed, just know that that absolutely makes everything that you see here a reality. So more to come at the end of the video. Right now, I'd like to get into the channeled information for the month of October. All right, Cancer, let's get into the fun stuff, the information I know you all came here for. As I was tuning into your sign, I selected a deck of cards, I meditated, and first thing that I felt was a sort of contraction of energy and then an expansion. And I also felt an activation right around my throat chakra. And what I wrote down in automatic writing was, don't lose track of yourself, especially your voice. And I would also say this extends to the third eye, to your vision. Whatever you're trying to do in your life right now, this is the chance to be bold, to stand up for yourself. Because I got this feeling that for some of you, there's this desire to please people or to try to kind of either overcompensate or I would say even compromise. And I'm all for finding sort of a happy medium. But this month, it's important for you to stand your ground. I feel like there are certain things in our life that we kind of contractually came to the planet to do. And there are also certain things from a mind, body, and spirit perspective that either absolutely resonate or do not. If you hit upon one of those truths this month, you need to honor it, and sometimes that means taking a stand and doing something that's right for you, but that may be difficult for other people to understand. This could be, walking away from a situation that just is no longer supportive, a toxic work situation or a relationship. It could also mean that you want to chase after a dream that you want. Maybe it's going back to school or some sort of a project or an endeavor that really is near and dear to your heart. I'm actually really excited for you this month because I feel like this is going to be a chance for you to really take your energy and be seen. It's almost like you have a star moment if we were to look at a card in tarot. And the fact that I was focusing on the voice, which different signs that's been coming up, but for you, just like this siren that we hear in the background, this is a chance for you to call attention to something and really make an impact in your life, make a change happen. And these moments, they don't happen all of the time. So if there's something that you're passionate about and you feel obligated to either, speak up, become an activist, write something down and share your story, or maybe you can be someone who can listen to or talk to someone. I feel like somehow communication is going to play a really key role in how you can make a difference this month and perhaps even past that. This could be more of a lifetime thing that really could carry you into the next year ahead. So whatever it is, be bold, stay firm to that vision, and don't be afraid to do something unpopular. And in my head, I could even sort of hear the voice get louder. So This is not about arguing. It's just making sure that your voice doesn't get drowned out, okay? So we're gonna now take a look at the cards and see what additional insights come through. Maybe I can also illustrate areas where you can be bold, where you can be the star, where you're gonna have a chance to really set the tone for other people. At this point, I'm gonna turn the camera down as I lay out the Celtic Cross, but afterwards I'll pull up each and every card and we'll discuss everything that's coming through for October. As I glance at everything, Cancer, I'm excited to get into this reading. There's a lot of major arcana cards coming through, which really does affect your overall trajectory. And even your outcome card has everything to do with flow, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I feel like for many of you, you're at a point right now where the universe is pulling you in a new direction. The question is, how ready are you for that shift? And I've been seeing a lot of really big changes for different signs this month. So it seems like October is kind of a magical month for everybody. Yours is very different though. This is about really speaking up, making a decision, pushing some of that energy out there. So what we saw in the channeled information absolutely is coming through here. Let's go ahead now and transition into the Catalyst card for this month. Just a reminder that the Catalyst functions as a way for you to access the highest frequency energy or the best opportunity of the month and how to overcome any potential roadblocks. Your Catalyst says, ascending the mountain, keep going forward. This is an encouragement, as I said earlier, to go after what it is that you want, to be bold. The other thing that this is really bringing through though is the fact that you don't want to psych yourself out of something. When you look at ascending a mountain or taking a hike and it looks like there's a really high summit, sometimes that seems like it's just out of reach. If, however, you take it one step at a time and you focus on how far you've come, it's a lot easier to celebrate progress than to kind of focus on what is left to do. What would be better is to keep in your mind's eye that idea of completion, of being up there, of being able to see everything. You want to project the success, celebrate the victories and the progress, and really savor in each and every moment as you're making that journey. It is about the journey. This entire life, this existence on the planet, we're not focusing on getting to the end point. None of us want to die today. We really want to enjoy each and every day along this sort of path. So do something today to celebrate who you are, who you're becoming, and what you've done to get to this point. That's going to be a very healthy way to keep on this road of ascension. And then when you finally get to that vista, savor it in, enjoy it, because you've worked so hard to get there. So for some of you, this may be only a month away. For some of you, it might be a year away, but the message today is you are on path. So don't give up, and the most important thing is just to simply be present and enjoy this moment. It's the most important moment because you're living it. All right, let's move to the center of the spread. We have a beautifully illustrated judgment card here with Archangel Gabriel prominently displayed. The interesting thing about this is it really reminds me of the Star card, probably because we have this light here, the light of God, or your soul light, or illumination coming through. Gabriel, of course, is a messenger of divine energy and divine insight. This month with the card reverse, it's saying that you know what you need to do. I had a reading for someone recently where I think this card came through maybe half a dozen or a dozen times. And it was kind of crazy because they knew what they needed to do. I knew what they needed to do. And this card kept coming up so that they had the confirmation that they needed to know that even though it was a difficult decision, that it was the right one. So I feel like some of you may have really heavily sort of thought about something and slept with this idea for a long time, and it's driving you crazy. If you know what to do, move forward. This is showing a certainty but a hesitation in executing on what you know on a heart and soul level. The other thing that comes through, there are actually three things. So the first one, for those of you that are feeling like you know what to do it. The second thing is, if there's somebody in your life that's trying to push you into a way of thinking or an action or decision that does not feel authentic, this card is saying you know better. And so it's okay to break sort of away from that, to be your own person, speak up, or maybe break out on your own and be independent, be an entrepreneur. So some of you can no longer fit in the mold of a mentor, a boss, or a parent, somebody that you respect, but you realize now that's not who I am, or I've changed and I need something different than what this person wants. And so it may mean temporary misunderstanding or disappointment, but I think eventually this person is going to respect your strength and your conviction. But you have to believe in yourself first. All right, so the third thing is there may be someone in your midst that is projecting something. Maybe they say that they're going to be a certain way, but their actions or their energy is betraying them, because this is showing some sort of an incompatibility with basically not walking the walk or talking the talk. Something's off. So if you feel like you have someone in your life that isn't truly being authentic, this card is saying, bingo, you're right. And so your intuition is so spot on this month, you really have to trust it. If you know what you want to do it. If someone's telling you to do something that doesn't feel right, don't do it. If you think somebody is not being authentic, you're probably right. It could be a combination of these things, and the important thing is you just have to trust yourself, okay? Let's go ahead and see what's crossing this card. So on top of this, we have the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles often comes through for what I was talking about with a mentor and a mentee, or a parent and a child, or somehow someone that has a little bit more power or influence over the other person. And there can be a feeling of not wanting to disappoint, or not wanting to let that person feel like they're out in the cold, because the traditional illustration for the Five of Pentacles will show that sort of maternal or paternal figure in the foreground, and you see someone that's depending on them behind them. Neither of them are looking at each other. There's a church behind them, which is a place of refuge, but they feel like they're left out. And so what this means is that you already know where you need to go. There's something that looks good to you on the horizon, but you need to fix this sort of feeling of codependency or obligation, because it's then and only then that you're going to be able to truly shine and become who you want and have this beautiful luminous energy that we're seeing in this central card. So some healing has to be done in that relationship. Forgive yourself, forgive the other person, speak your truth. We have two cards showing that. We have Justice and Judgment. Justice is in the deep past. Judgment is here in the center. And so whenever I see the two, it is really about standing your ground. And I feel that because Justice is upright in the deep past, that you are on the right path. You are doing what's best for you. Justice is about being fair. So even if you have to do something that is unpopular, if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And as we get older, when you grow up, things are complicated sometimes. You can't make everyone happy. I remember getting advice from a teacher once that, I had this difficult decision. I had to kind of choose between a couple of opportunities in my life. And she reminded me, she said, as you get older, you're going to have to make some choices. And if you try to make everyone happy, you are going to fail at a few things. First of all, you're not going to make everyone happy. You won't be happy. And people won't see you as decisive. You're not going to be a leader. So evaluate the options in front of you, pick the best choice, and just be honest with everyone. That they can respect. And then you're going to feel good about your decision too, because you know where you stand and everyone else does as well. So I feel like it's important for you. There might be a parting of the way for some of you this month. Justice is upright, but judgment is reversed. And like I said, there might be someone in your midst where you just can't get behind the way they're thinking anymore. And so if that's the case, it doesn't necessarily come through as a divorce. It's just sort of a natural parting of the ways. It's kind of like graduation when you look at the sort of cosmic scheme of things. And you're getting permission from the universe to sort of move on and find the next partnership or the next sort of level of connection with someone. I feel like the next one will be a lot less codependent. But before you do it, look and see what it is that's making you feel that cord between you and this person, place, or thing. Whatever the obligation is, whatever the fear, whatever the doubt is, heal it, address it. There may need to be a conversation between you and a person, if it is a person, and just let it go, okay? Now, as we look at your recent past here, we have the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is a card of exploring opportunities. It can be a research card, which is great. It can also show brainstorming. So I feel like as you enter into this month, before you sort of decide what you want to do, it might help you to talk to someone, to look at all the options in front of you, knowing really that you have what you need to make the decision. But this is going to fill out the edges so that you know that you've done your due diligence, that it's okay to move forward. This could also simply be making sure that you haven't missed something. This is the only thing that I'm going to say with this card, though, is that sometimes you can stay too long in that space. So I think do a little of that work, but by the first week of the month, I would say 6 or 7 days in, you should have all of that research and that sort of vacillation done. You should be able to be firm in your decision at that point. Now, let's get to the crowning card. This is really important. Self-care is essential this month because we have the Ten of Swords. It's a different illustration for the Ten of Swords, but it is the Ten of Swords. And this can show that for some of you, you just may have been overworking yourself. It's a card that comes through with chronic pain. It can also be a card of disappointment, of exhaustion, and even getting to a point where you've pushed yourself so far that you can snap and have an argument. So by practicing good self-care, you can mute the energy of this card. A lot of times I tell you how to take a reverse card and pull it upright. For this one, I kind of want you to do the reverse of that. I want you to mute or lessen the energy of the Ten of Swords. The important thing here also is if there's something that you need to say, just don't mince your words. Find a way to stick to the facts, get that out there. And if it is about divorce, quitting a job, separation, or parting of the ways, it's better if you just kind of take that bandage off and say it and then move forward. And if you wait too long, then things could kind of get to the point where it's elevated. This is interesting that I'm actually seeing the swords go through the front of this person's body instead of the back. Normally, the Ten of Swords has to do with your spinal health, neck, lower back. But in this case, there could be energy that you're holding on right around, we're looking at the shoulder and the heart chakra. So for those of you where you do feel it in the shoulders, yes, this could just be because you're stressing. You know, have you ever noticed if you're typing, sometimes your shoulders creep up there. Also, when we're holding on to a burden, we tend to tighten our shoulders. So get a massage, watch your posture, and really loosen that part of your body. But for those of you that feel the tightening here, you want to get that looked at. I would say even this, if you're anywhere that you're feeling the pain this month, go to the doctor. Make sure that it's not just stress, and make sure that you're doing something about the stress, because if you're holding it in this area, it could be hypertension, it could be blood pressure, it could be the heart. And even though we didn't get the Three of Swords here, that doesn't mean that that couldn't be affected. So you need good stress management this month so that you can take care of your body and especially your heart and your lungs. So whatever's going on there, take care of that. And as you start to live your passion, move towards your dream, open up that chest cavity and that heart center, you're going to feel this sense of relief that's going to resonate through your entire body. So please do something to make sure that you're feeling good in that space. As we look in the near future, we have the Queen of Swords. She's reversed, and it's worth mentioning that in the hope, fears, and opportunity space, We have the King of Swords also reversed. Let's talk about her first and what this could indicate for you. The Queen of Swords reversed can indicate an individual in your life that is very challenging. What makes the Queen of Swords so difficult or dangerous is that she or he can weaponize speech. And basically that means that they can twist your words and use them against you. Sometimes they can come in and also kind of make you say something by pushing your buttons. What you want to do this month is to stay neutral as often as you can. And in the face of this kind of conflict, you want to pull in a mediator. That's why we have judgment and justice. So if something feels like it's not right, or someone's trying to make you say something, make you do something, this is when you want to lean on a support person in your life that can help you stay on track, help you continue that journey. And for many of you, this is also showing that parting of the ways that I mentioned. So if there's someone in your life where it just doesn't feel right, where communication is broken down, what you want to do this month is avoid an argument or a disagreement. Stick to the facts, definitely hold your ground, but at some point you could say, this is not productive. Why don't we revisit this later, or I'm going to talk to this person and the three of us are going to get together and figure this out. You want to stay strong. You don't want to get emotional because we have the Queen and the King of Swords. This is just about sticking to the facts and about having a clear communication. You want to meet them with a strong and clear and a concise communication style, but you don't want to go to a low level with them because there might be someone, again, who's trying to be argumentative. You'll go much higher than that, and they're not going to know what to do because this is kind of take them off guard a little bit. The other thing that I'm seeing here is some of you are being challenged to step up this month and just show what you've got. This can be a boss, a parent, or a teacher in your life that puts you on the spot and will ask you something direct. But guess what? You come through as the King of Swords. So you have what it takes to meet this sort of opposition. I'm not really nervous about you this month. What you want to do is, instead of getting defensive or thinking that this person is trying to create trouble in your life, meet them with gratitude and positivity. Say, thank you so much for bringing this up. In fact, I've been wanting to discuss this for a while. Why don't we meet in my office and we can talk? Or if it's a teacher and they're asking you a question, or a boss and they're putting you on the spot, you can say, you know what? This is a great question. I'd like to do a little research and get back to you on it. I feel like I could get back to you by tomorrow. If you want to answer right now, then this is my opinion. But again, I want to back it up. So you could try to do three things. The first is to say, yes, I want to talk about this, but the timing is wrong. Or I agree that this is an issue. Why don't we look at some of the options before we jump to a decision? Or you could say, I'm happy to weigh in, but I want to make sure that we get some other voices in the room here and make sure that we're covering all of our bases. Just try to diffuse it. Try to buy yourself some time, but acknowledging that you're happy to have the conversation is going to take the person by surprise. Or if you kind of step up to the challenge and you could say, well, you know what? This is out of my comfort zone, but let's talk about it. That's also going to diffuse it. You have the power this month to be the king, to control this conversation, to take that steering wheel and go in the direction that you want to. So don't let them push your buttons. Push right back and find a way to navigate, because I think you can do it. Let's talk a little bit more about your ego this month. And in the ego position, we have the Seven of Pentacles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Love it. I love these illustrations, but I don't love that there's actually no Roman numerals or Arabic numerals. It makes reading them difficult. Okay, for the Seven of Pentacles, what I love about this is it's showing the growth and how all of this hard work that you've done to set up a firmer and a more stable foundation, it's going to take you into the future. Really keep your eye on this month. This is about details, specifically when it comes to money, but it can also be facts. So if there's any contracts that you're looking at this month, if there's any project that you're involved in, really make sure you get a second or third set of eyes looking at all of the essential pieces. You don't want to miss something. This due diligence here is going to be very, very good. We have 2 sevens. This is about having your mind wander. This is about making sure that the details are intact. Don't let this one get in the way of this one. All right. As we look at it's all about sevens for you this month. As we look at the environment, we have the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords, it has everything to do with what we were just talking about. Much like the Moon card, it can show that someone is acting sort of covertly or behind the scenes. And we see here this fox holding on to the coin, showing that there is some sort of greed or self-serving motive that could be at play. And because swords rule communications and contracts and the written and spoken word, this is where you want to be careful. You want to be like this dove flying high above all of this. Don't get into all of the crossfire here. So there could also be, this could be like a family squabble or a marital squabble too. Wherever you're at in this, whether you're the partner, whether you're a child, whether you're a friend, stay out of this if you can, because I feel like someone's just trying to kind of pull you into an unnecessary situation. And your challenge this month is to be a supportive person for them, but encourage them to also figure this out. Say, you know, I don't feel comfortable taking a side here. I feel like this is something that you really have to sort out. Or I've done as much as I can. I think you need to talk to a professional. These are very appropriate ways to deal with someone that's difficult or unhinged a little bit. And if something is going on that's wrong, if we have someone that's actually kind of doing something against policy or against the law, this is about documentation. And this is about making sure that you're absolutely sure that they're doing this. So talk to as many people as possible. And guess what? With judgment, justice, and these two swords cards, which can also show lawyers, this is about bringing something to light. So some of you may be in the midst of a legal challenge, a battle, or you may have to kind of weigh things out and think, do I want to bring this to public attention? So if that's the case, listen, you have the support here. It's a decision that you have to make. I said at the beginning, you know what to do. So for those of you that have this dilemma, you know, it's your conscience and your decision, and there's sacrifices, and you have to figure out what's good for you. For the rest of you, I think it really is just about staying on the high ground when it comes to communication, not getting involved in other people's drama, and focusing on your own path. And here's what I like. Your path looks pretty good right now. I mentioned in another sign, the Seven of Pentacles, while it isn't maybe what I want to see like with the Eight of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles shows, you know, going back to school, learning. Nine of Pentacles shows independence. This shows healing, recovery, and the road to those two cards, the road to independence, the road to knowledge expansion and figuring out what you want. So you're exactly where you need to be. Stick with that this month. This other stuff, the Ten of Swords, the Queen of Swords reverse, the King of Swords reverse, and the Seven of Swords, that is drama, and you don't need to be in it. In fact, as we look at the final card for you this month, the outcome, we have Hanged Man reversed. I like that. The Devil reversed, the Ten of Swords reversed, the Tower reversed. All of these cards show that you're moving away from something. What does the Hanged Man mean? That you're stuck. All of this stuff going on in your life right now, it's giving you a chance to break free. Have you ever had a chance to look back at something that while you went through it, it felt very dramatic or it felt very difficult, but in retrospect, you realize that something wonderful opened up because of the sacrifice, because of the difficulty, because of the lesson that you learned. This month, because you're watching this before a lot of this happens, you have a choice to diffuse a potential argument, to avoid getting involved in someone's sort of crossfire of communication, to stick instead to your own curriculum, your own sort of goals, and focus on living your truth, doing what's right for you. And I think many of you can step out of what looks like it could be a situation where you're not being fully supported. Because if we also go back to just the resource cards, the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles, yes, we're improving a little bit, but this can show someone who's taking you for granted. So if it's a partner, they're not investing as much in the relationship as they could be. If it's a parent or if it's a friend, same thing kind of goes into this. If it's you, you could evaluate why you're not invested in what's happening. It's probably because it's time to move on. And ultimately, that's what we see here with the Hanged Man reverse. It's basically kind of like giving you the energy of the Fool taking a leap of faith. And you need to do that this month if you're ready. But it sort of sits on your, it's all on your plate because we have justice and judgment here in the deep past and also in the center. So you're being faced with some decisions this month, but the outcome is that you're going to be free. You're going to be unshackled. And that part of it really heartens me a bit. And I know that some of these cards might stress you out, but when we're looking at it at the beginning of the month, it's all potential energy anyway. So you have a chance to navigate through this and make the most of it. Let me tell you how you can actually flip the King and the Queen of Swords to your benefit. The Queen of Swords, again, this can be a very good card. This is, when we're looking at business, this is someone who has the upper hand. Same thing with the King of Swords. So I want you to focus on really thinking through what it is that you want to do and say this month. Pay attention to your body language, to your nonverbal cues, how much you're keeping your eyes on somebody, if you're smiling. All of these things are going to be just as important as the tone of your voice, the vocabulary that you choose, and the timing of your messaging. That's how you can take those two cards and pull them upright. Just utilize speech as an asset, and as instead of a weapon, it can be something that heals and brings people together. Something like Gandhi, where, again, nonviolence, peace, love, you can put all that same energy in communication, or Martin Luther King. So we can take the same thing that someone tries to weaponize or use against us and transmute the energy and reflect it back, and they don't know what to do with the love. So keep yourself in that heart-centric place. That's where that person is lacking, sort of their energy and their centeredness. So if you can keep your heart open and bright, and if you can shine the light of truth and reason in this month, great things can happen. I think some of you are going to shift out of a relationship, a job, possibly even a living situation. We didn't get the world, but we got a lot of the energy that would be accompanied with that because of judgment and justice. Judgment comes right before the world. It's it's number 20, world is 21. And so you make the decision to make the change before the change happens. So this month, you get to get one step closer to moving on. And this is kind of like the 10 of Wands here. It reminds me a lot of the 10 of Wands, actually. So the question is, where do you want to go? How much longer do you want to stay where you're at? What can you do this month to set things in motion? And I think once you get there, everything starts to fall in place. This is a really nice time to look at the extended forecast, starting with health first. A reminder that health isn't just what's going on in your body. We talked at pretty good length already what some of that could be, some of the chronic pain or some of the stress that could manifest itself as an illness or as a fatigue. The other thing that you want to pay attention to in health this month is your emotional state. Some of you may have been in a place of loss because although it's not clearly illustrated in this particular card, judgment can be a card of reincarnation, rebirth, death, loss, and coming through all of that. Usually you'll see people literally kind of rising from the dead here. So this is a chance for you to be like a phoenix this month. If there's been anything that's gone on where you felt like you lost your way, or you were lost, or you literally lost someone, this month it's almost that relief or that release that happens after you've been crying or after you've grieved the loss. But you have to work through the grief first. So if there's anything that you're holding on to where you feel like, I need some help, I can't let go, that's what this could be. Some of you might be heartbroken. You might be sort of feeling down on yourself and having a hard time communicating with others. So these reverse swords cards can indicate a feeling of being at a loss for words. And in this case, that's where it's going to be important to heal. And the Seven of Pentacles shows that you will be able to do that this month, okay? The other thing here is we see that this can indicate like a child or a pet or a loved one that you might have let go or lost in your life. Take all the time you need for that. I said this with someone else, but I think it's a great way of looking at grief. There's no expiration date on grief. It pops up in the strangest times, doesn't it? Sometimes you can feel perfectly okay and you hear a song on the radio, or you see an old photograph, or just a certain situation. You could drive past a location that reminds you of that. If that happens to you this month, let yourself go through that. One of the things that we see here at the end is this fluidity, this, emotions come and go. What you have a chance to do this month is to release them and just let it kind of flow through you. You don't have to exist too long in that state of grief. So acknowledge it, allow the tears to come if they need to, and then see what tomorrow brings, okay? Let's go ahead and move along to your wealth card. And this is really interesting. I talked to a fellow healer recently that reminded me that parental relationships, particularly relationships with your father, can kind of filter into your wealth, your opportunities. And right here we have a card all about forgiveness. We have what I would consider a very paternal card here, Jesus, and it says, "You are on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father healing is possible at this time." So the Father is coming through in your wealth sector. And what this means is that, and we also have a parental card here at the center here. A lot of times when I see the Five of Pentacles, it can indicate something that happened from ages 5 to 7 or when you were young, and it has to do with self-worth, and a lot of times it has to do with mom or dad. So if you have something that you're holding from your dad or your mom this month, and it is affecting how you view yourself, how much confidence you have, or how much you accept yourself. Maybe your parents just didn't like what you did for a living, or who you loved, or how you conducted your life. This month, forgive yourself, first of all. You didn't do anything wrong. And forgive your parents for not having the imagination or the ability to see who you could become or who you were. You came through as a way of healing them and you and becoming stronger. What I've been able to do in my own life is to look at people who disappointed me, who hurt me, and I can look back in gratitude because they expanded my capacity for empathy. Because I was hurt, because I went through a struggle in my life, I then realized how to relate to other people that were in that same sense of loss. I feel like there are 3 cards now that are very much related. This Five of Pentacles, the grief card, and this need to forgive, and it's hard because the card is reversed. Just know that forgiveness starts within. You can forgive yourself for not being able to forgive them. You can forgive the pain that you feel and that you weren't able to stand up for yourself. And then eventually you can find a way to somehow know that that lesson that they taught you made you the beautiful person that you are today. And it doesn't happen overnight. There's some things that may not be able to be forgiven in this life. We get to live many lives, so this is something karmically that you'll work out. But just try to love yourself and realize that when you stop holding on to the anger, the resentment, or whatever it is that's connecting you to something in the past, you are free. So if you can somehow release it so that you the sort of like the poisoning energy of those lower frequencies goes away within you, things start to get better, okay? If we step aside from the lens of mother and father for a second, this can also indicate someone that's really close to you that somehow you feel has wronged you because, and I feel like it could be connected to money because this is about doing something that isn't quite right. This is a recovery card with money, but it can show that if someone promised to help you, promised to repay a loan or a debt, or somehow owed you something but never followed through on it, this could be where you're kind of holding on to that need to forgive them. And it could have put you in a sort of precarious position where you really went out of your way and then you found yourself short on time, short on money, short on energy. Maybe it even got to the point where you were you wanted to fight with them or you did have a falling out. At this point, there's no more need to kind of hold on to that. It would be better to refocus on what the future is. For some of you, this can also be about debt that you could have accrued and you need to just forgive yourself. And there may be an opportunity to have someone forgive the debt as well if you talk to them. So anything's possible if you have a conversation about it, let them know your perspective. So moving on is the main thing that we're seeing with money and with career. And again, it could also be leaving. As we again go back to the Hanged Man reverse, this is your chance to break free, to try something new, and to kind of unshackle yourself. As we look at love and relationships, a new person wants to come into your life, or I see some sort of new energy coming through, but it happens after you move on to the next phase. This could be traveling for work. This could be deciding to leave a situation. Whenever you kind of achieve the next goal in your life, I see a new person, an advocate coming through. We have all these little eyes of providence at the bottom. That's what the eye in the pyramid is, and it's pointing up towards this person. The card is reversed though, showing that you may not be ready to see this just yet. You might be seeing them in dreams and intuitions. You may be feeling the energy coming through. This could be a new friend. It could be a new lover. I like the overall energy of this because it's divine. It's connected to the 7th chakra color. So this is something that is going to feel right from the basically from the first meeting. So trust yourself and work on yourself and work on getting to that next level. All of the stuff that's coming through this month, it's basically sort of like a cleanse, particularly with the person or the situation that needs to kind of flushed out, basically. There's no better word for that. You need to clear it out of your energy. And once you've done that, this person comes rushing in, and it's because you've done the requisite work to heal, to forgive, to release, and then you bring in a partner, not a teacher, not someone that's antagonizing. So I feel like there's someone really, really amazing right around the corner for many of you. If you're already in a relationship, this could be a best friend. And if you're single and looking, this could be someone that you've been waiting for. If you're single and happy, it's still a partner. It doesn't matter. So keep working on yourself, keep working on that path, and know that the universe has a surprise in store for you in the next few months here. Let's go ahead now and move along to your destiny card. For me, destiny indicates not something that is set in stone, but rather the trajectory in which you are headed. There's a lot of text on the back, so I'm going to summarize this. The card, as you can see, is all about flow, and it says that one of the most important things this month is the process of letting go. Moving your consciousness from sort of being so much in your head, not necessarily like your seventh chakra, but I think this could be what we were looking at with the Seven of Cups, thinking too much. And as you kind of move that into your core, it's actually telling you to take it a few inches below your navel. So this would be between your second and your third chakras. As you focus on that space, this is where you're going to find your power, and you're going to allow the energy to start to flow through you. It says be serene, be at ease, and totally within your power. And then kind of meditating on this, it says, let the waterfall of life work for you, becoming like a twig carried in its rushing surface. So what you're really going to do is picture yourself in the universal flow of energy this month and allow yourself to be carried to that new horizon that you're trying to find. Free fall a little bit if you have to, because risk is necessary for movement. If you stay put, and you can't because the hangman is reverse, if you stay put, then you're not going to grow. You're not going to be able to meet this new energy, this new person that wants to come through. Take the high road when it comes to your communication, and you're going to be all right when that happens. All right, I'm kind of jumping into the review, so I want to segue into that right now. But the main thing is that you are not you're not working counter to the flow. You're going to be in the flow and carried with it to the next level. And that's really what the Destiny card is suggesting, to allow the universe to guide you. And we see some of that providence, that divine energy right here. It's pointing towards the right people, and it's pointing you away from other people. All right, I'm going to turn the camera down, review everything that we talked about, and then I'll leave you with your closing word. Your channeled message this month was to not lose track of yourself, your voice, or your vision. Be bold, stand up for yourself, and really be decisive. That's something that we saw in the center card and also the deep past. The overall trajectory this month, not just in the Destiny card, but we even saw it in the Catalyst, is really about moving to the next level. It says keep going forward, and we see that you're moving on to something higher, better, and more satisfactory than whatever you're currently experiencing in your life. We have Gabriel representing judgment at the center. It's reversed. We also have justice in the deep past. This indicates for many of you needing to follow through on a decision. We also talked about how judgment reverse can show someone that's not really showing their true colors, that you can see through that, or something that's going on in your life where you know you need to make a change and you're encouraged to do that. There's also a relationship that I think needs to be healed. We see it here in your wealth sector, so it could be someone that owes you money. It could also be a family member that's affecting your self-worth. Whatever it is, the sooner you heal this, the more successful you're going to be both in life and also in your career. The Justice card can indicate getting ready to move on, to execute, or to also let go of a contract. So wherever you're at in that process, know that divinely speaking, it's exactly where you should be. It looks like that some of you want to do a little bit more research or exploration with the Seven of Cups here. That's absolutely fine. Just try not to stay too long in that space, as it could kind of keep you in this area of being stuck that we see with the Hangman. We talked quite a bit about how open communication is key this month. We have the Ten of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and then two court cards here kind of in the mix with all of this. So keep your communication on the level, fact-based, and neutral if you can. Remember that no matter what, you have the ability this month to redirect, take control, and steer the communication, and that's something that you should really celebrate and use to your advantage. As we're looking at your ego, it's about developing yourself, healing yourself, moving forward, really kind of focusing on this path that's ahead of you. And all of this other stuff, it's just there as kind of like scenery and drama. And this is really where the focus should be. And the outcome card as well is about letting go, moving on. So you can kind of tune out a lot of this situational stuff that's going on and focus on your vision, your word, standing up for that, and if you need to, moving on, because that's another message that keeps coming through. Heal yourself. As we look at your health, if you're losing something or just kind of grieving a loss because it's time to let go, when we move on from a place of employment, an apartment, or even just a phase in our life, sometimes we have to grieve that loss too. We're getting a little bit of that here with health. The biggest and I think most important card that comes through is forgiveness. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving some of the decisions you might have made. Once you do this, then your career and the opportunities in your life starts to take off. Most importantly, as we look here at love and relationships, higher love can come through as well. All of this puts you within the flow of prosperity, which is really what this is all about. This brings your monthly reading to a close. Hopefully you got exactly what you needed to have the guidance and the confidence to face all of the challenges and opportunities that are ahead for you this month. If there's anything going on in your life that either I didn't get a chance to talk about or maybe you want more detail on, feel free to reach out to me. You can click on the first card in the video or the first link below. This will take you to my booking site where you can check out rates and availability. If that makes sense for you, then I look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, if you just want to say thank you and support future videos like this, click on that second card or second link. From there, you can explore different ways to become a patron or to contribute. This includes everything from Patreon to PayPal to even becoming a member of this channel. All of these different methods give you a chance to either do something one time or continuing, which ultimately feeds into giving me the time and energy and resources to produce videos just like this. A contribution as little as $1 makes a big impact, and I just want to say thank you for everyone who's done that in the past or who is considering doing that today. You're making the next round of videos possible. The third way that you can make a difference only involves a few clicks, and it really makes a difference to me. So consider doing this. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, do that now. And then you can also join me on social media. Click on that third card or third link, and this will take you to a page on my site where you can join me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also sign up for a newsletter if you're interested. And please feel free to share this video or any of those pages on your social media feed so that other people can find me. One of my goals on this planet is to really help people wake up, raise consciousness, shine a light when people are feeling kind of lost or that they're in the dark, and then give them the tools to have conversations about spirituality. So when you share a YouTube link on the social media sites, this really helps people find all of that, and it helps me complete one of my goals and purposes on the planet. So thank you for doing that. Finally, I would like to leave you with your closing word this month, which is really hope. I have a lot of hope for you based on what I'm seeing here. There is some healing that you have to do, yes, because we see that here with Jesus here, forgiveness, and we see the grief card. But once you've moved through that, there's a higher love that wants to find you. And there's also a flow of prosperity, which has already started to begin this month. In addition to that, I see a really beautiful opportunity awaiting you on the other side of this stuff right now. So my hope for you is that you can see that and you can feel that, and that as some of these challenges arise this month, you're going to look at them and think, I'm not going to freak out. I've got this. I know what's ahead. And this is just one little wrinkle in that bigger picture, and I've got this. The other thing here is that when the hangman is upright, it kind of reminds me of someone on a trampoline, and it's this exhilaration. You're the opposite of being stuck. You're kind of jumping to that next big thing. And so if you can get on the momentum of movement, of freedom, yeah, there's a little risk too, but it's like the butterflies in your stomach. Become the butterfly. Fly to the next thing. That's really what wants to happen this month, okay? I'd like to end this video with gratitude. First of all, just thanks for sticking with this for the entire length. It means a lot to me. Your time is valuable, so is mine. So the fact that you shared it with me means so much. And I want to also leave you with a little picture here of my dog who has been sleeping in the background. He pushed the toy out in case you wondered what that was. But I really think he encapsulates everything that we were looking at in that card about flow. because it said, be serene, be at ease, and totally within your power. And this little guy couldn't be happier, couldn't be more relaxed, isn't worrying about things. And I think if you can get to that space of feeling like you've got this, things are going to be okay, relaxing a little bit. If someone in your life is trying to agitate you, be more like Apollo, just let it go. And I think we'd all be healthier for that. So Apollo and I wish you all the best. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you again in 1 month's time.